been. As you know, last Wednesday we had our pro day. I was really happy with how smooth the operation went. The scouts really appreciated the efficiency and the organization of it. I was really happy to see some old friends and our guys perform well. I'm looking forward to having more prospects in the future pro days. It was a good day for the Spartans. Practice is going well. I'm just really excited about how we're approaching the meetings and the practice. The coaching is outstanding. I go from meeting room to meeting room prior to practice, and everyone's on the same page. We're really focusing on technique and fundamentals. It's the aggregation of marginal gains. If we can just get a little bit better at the critical factors that are important to each player to execute their job at their position. The technique and fundamentals. We have to do simple better. Hand placement, footwork, pad level, upper body violence and effort to the ball. Things like that. Eye discipline. That's really where our main focus is. And so it's just one step at a time, gaining ground. But I'm really pleased with what I see so far. We've got a long way to go. We have a lot of work to do, but we're trusting the process. We're trusting the process, and we're getting better. So it was a good day today. We finished this morning. We completed practice number 4, our second practice in pads. It was physical. We'll rest up and get ready to go again Thursday. We'll scrimmage on Saturday, have our first scrimmage, and we'll get a chance to go live to the ground. So, but I'll open up for questions. Anything you all want to know, I'll do my best.
Sounds good. Thanks, Coach. We'll start with them live.
Hey, Mel, just to be clear, Saturday will be your first scrimmage, right?
That'll be the first one, yes. First one.
So you touched on the first 4 practices. I guess, is there any area where you guys are ahead of where you thought you might be at this point, and maybe somewhere where you feel like you need to spend a little more time focusing?
I'll tell you what, our special teams work has been very good. The technique and fundamentals, working on punt, just the entire operation and the efficiency of the drills, the understanding of what we need to get done, how we need to do it. We're improved in that area. We're moving in the right direction. We still need to learn how to practice. We have too many guys on the ground. We talk about it. We talk about it all the time. When we're not scrimmaging, no one should be on the ground. And that's how guys get hurt. You can't make plays when you're on the ground. It's just a bad look for us. We had less guys on the ground today, but just the practice etiquette, how we work, practice like a pro, stay up, get your work in, focus on technique and fundamentals, have a good base, play with good pad level, have great balance and body control, have contact balance, stay on your feet and play through the whistle. And we really need to get better in terms of staying off the ground. That's one thing I can't stand that.
And as far as, I guess, when you look at bringing in a grad transfer at QB, where you were last year at, the 4 days of fall camp or whatever you had as far as splitting reps, I guess, where are you at with that? And when you have 5 scholarship guys on the roster and obviously, like you said last week, an open competition.
Yeah, it's great competition. The guys are pushing each other to get better. It's a good room. The guys are working hard. Coach Johnson does a heck of a job with those quarterbacks, and I'm just looking forward to how we end up. What can we become at that position? Competition is good.
Thanks, Mel.
Yep, you're welcome. Thanks, Matt.
Our next question will go to Lindsey Huddleston.
Hey, Mel, looking back over your pro experience, I look at those helmets in the back. I bet if someone would have said portal to you, you would have had no idea what they were talking about. Now, have you started to develop any portal principles about how these guys are coming in, what you have to be thinking of, what you have to be mindful of? Because it just seems to be an ongoing topic, maybe in our world, not necessarily yours, but it just seems to be something that's a lot is going on with it.
Yeah, the portal's here to stay, and we embrace it. It's part of our process of acquiring players, everyone's in the portal for different reasons, and so you have to do your homework. We have to make sure that the guys that we decide that we want are a great fit for our culture. They fill needs on the field, but obviously they need to fit in off the field as well. Academically, socially, we're looking for good teammates, guys that are unselfish and guys that love football. But the portal is, it means different things to different people. And what the portal does for us is that when we evaluate players out of high school, either they're what we want for our program or they're not. And we don't need to reach for guys. If we're not convicted on a player coming out of high school, then we won't take them. And so that makes sure that we feel great about the guys that we're recruiting from the high school ranks. We want to build our team through the high school ranks, but we will supplement our roster and complement our roster with guys from the portal, whether they're grad transfers or they're undergrad transfers. But we have to make sure that we're not just collecting players, but we're building a team, and that's where the fit comes in. And so, we don't have to reach. We know that there'll be players in the portal, and we'll use the portal to complement our high school guys, and we'll build our team that way.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Lindsay.
Next question will go to Stephen Brooks with 24/7 Sports.
Hey, Mel, hope you're doing well. I remember last time you said, well, you've said it a couple of times, you want your QB to be the #1 competitor on the team. Curious how you've seen Anthony Russo in that regard. I know he's been involved in quite a few QB competitions, whether it was at Temple or even back to high school. So just curious about his competitiveness, what you've noticed from him there.
Oh, he competes. And they all compete. Like I said, it's a good room. They work well together. They take coaching. I can tell that he's becoming more comfortable with our scheme and more comfortable with our coaching and just being in our program. And so as that happens, he's going to play faster. He's going to play with more confidence. But from a competition standpoint, there's no question about that. He competes.
I also wanted to ask you about Kenneth Walker, if I could. Obviously, you see his highlights on film, you get him through the portal. Now that you've had him for a couple of days in pads, is he basically the guy that you thought you were getting, and just sort of your early reviews of him?
Yeah, he's the same guy that we saw on tape. And, he gives great effort. He's strong. He's got great quickness. He has balance and body control. He can change direction. He can run through the smoke. He's got good hands. He's a tireless worker. I haven't seen him loaf one time in a drill or in group work and teamwork. Every rep he takes, he makes the most of it. I'm glad we have him.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Our next question is from Raider Saban with the Detroit Free Press.
Hey, Mel, when you are looking at the running game and did the self-scouting of the running game last year, what were the issues that you saw, and where do you think you can stand to make the greatest improvement?
Well, it starts up front with the offensive line. We need to get stronger, have to become more physical. Our technique has to improve. Just our understanding of what is the job that I have to do. How do I do it, and why is it important to get it done a certain way? And that's critical. Our tight ends are a big part of our run game, and so we need to get stronger there at the point of attack with those guys. Understand? No block, no rock. You got to get your hands inside, get a flat back and some hat speed, and get into guys and move guys. And then the runners have to hit the hole, understand where the power of the play is, and get there and run with authority and run with power, keeping the ball high and tight, and get yards after contact. And when you have good backs, the play doesn't have to be blocked perfectly every time. Guys can make guys miss and make something happen, make the O-line better. So it's just a collective. It's a collective effort. And like I talked to the receivers today, again, you don't, no block, no rock. Your receiver, the toughness of your team, you can tell the toughness of your team by how your receivers block and how your corners tackle. So just we all need to get better. The run game was not nearly good enough. We all know that. I think putrid might have been a word that could be used, and so it is what it is. We need to get better. We can't run the ball on our terms. We can't be good teams. We just can't do it. We need to be able to run the ball when we want to run it and when we want to run it. And that, I mean, that's going to take everyone. And so we have a sense of urgency in our run game. I expect our run game to be much better this season, but you know, it's one day at a time right now in spring ball. We're getting there. We're getting better.
Nick Saban recently said, and he said it a couple times, that basically the game's changed to the point that you basically have to outscore the other team. How much has your philosophy changed in that regard with the way you look at offense and also even defense, and how it all kind of works together in this age of college football?
You know, defensively, if they can't score, then they can't win. And so you want to hold teams to low numbers. And offensively, you know, you need to possess the ball and control the field position and score points. And that's the bottom line. I mean, the game really hasn't really changed, you know, that much in that regard. On defense, you need to stop people and get the ball back. When you get the ball on offense, you need to advance the ball, you know, possess the ball and score touchdowns and protect the ball. You know, ball security is huge for us. And so we have to play complementary football, offense, defense, and special teams working together. And that's how we get it done.
Thanks.
Next question is from Matt Wenzel with MLive.
And Mel, with the 4 early enrollees you had in the 2021 recruiting class, I was wondering where those guys are at between Hampton, Cameron, and Ethan and Michael as far as fitting in with the position groups.
Yeah, the players that they came early have bought into our culture, understand what the standard is, you know, what the expectations are, and have really fit in. I've been really impressed with how our players have accepted our newcomers, even though guys are coming in and there's more competition at these positions. We still have really good chemistry. Guys are helping each other out. Everyone's understanding that it's going to take every guy to be at his best. We need as much help as we can get. Practices are going to be more competitive, and the more competitive your practices are, the better you're going to play in the game. And so, you know, I like what I see so far from those young guys.
Is there anybody you expect to miss the spring, or you're going to hold out as just a precaution to get healthier?
The guys that are available to practice, then we're going to practice. We're not holding anyone because of to keep them healthy. You stay healthy, you know, by training properly and you know, having the proper rest and recovery, the proper nutrition, and staying off the ground and playing with great technique and fundamentals. You can't get better if you don't practice.
Thanks, Mel.
You're welcome.
Our next question is from Audrey Dahlgren with WLNS.
Unmute myself. Hi, Mel. How are you today?
I'm great.
I was just curious, what position group is maybe ahead of everyone else right now at this point? What position group is most behind? And what position group do you really want to see excel in this week?
It's really too early to say. I'll know a lot more after our first scrimmage. You know, none of the groups are where we need them to be right now. I mean, I still need to watch the film from today. I saw some good things from pretty much both sides of the ball at every position, but I saw some things that were not very good, and we need to get cleaned up. But as we practice more and as we get more live reps, guys, you know, get more comfortable with our scheme. You know, then things will start to shake out. Players will start to separate themselves, and the identity of this football team will start to reveal itself. But right now, the work ethic is at every position has been good. We're always looking to raise the bar there, and the focus has been good. But we weren't good enough at any position a year ago. So I mean, there's a tremendous amount of improvement that we need to make between now and kickoff next season.
I'll make sure everyone has time for questions. So we'll go to Paul from Spartan Magazine. Paul?
I'm sorry. Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Okay, Mel, I wanted to ask you about the cohesion between linebacker and D line. It seems like at times when they were adjusting to that new scheme last year, there were some kind of hiccups with gap fits and whatnot. Can you talk about in year two what you're seeing from those guys working together, the linebackers and D line?
Yeah, in terms of the run game, it's all about run fits. Do your job first, and then you can help out somewhere else after that. I mean, everyone has to know their job. We have every defense that we run is gap sound. We don't have junk defenses. We don't have cheat defenses. Everyone's got a gap, and has to do their job and play their gap. If someone runs through your gap, then that's a problem. And so it's really just knowing what to do and knowing where your help is, knowing where you fit within the scheme, and trusting that if I do my job, the man next to me is going to do his job. And so that's how the front, the line, the D line and the linebackers, that's how they fit. And it's also with the secondary is a big part of run support. I mean, and in the secondary, you're going to have primary run force guys and secondary run force guys, whether they're corners, nickels, or safeties. And everyone's got to know where to fit in the defense and play hard and do their job. When you see if you see a explosive run, it's usually because someone was out of their gap. It was a missed tackle, or it was a lost leverage, or a mental error. It was one of those factors.
As a quick follow up, any linebackers stepping up? Any guys that are making some plays or taking the steps that you need to get that position right?
I haven't seen anyone stick out yet. I really haven't. I mean, we've got guys that are working hard, but I haven't seen anyone at that position that's been lights out. Just really jumped off the tape to me. So we just need to continue to get better, and like I said, as we continue to practice and as we get some scrimmages in, then hopefully, guys will start to separate themselves.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Next question, we'll go back to Matt Wenzel with M Live, and we'll wrap it up with Stephen Brooks with 24/7 Sports.
Now, obviously, you guys had a plan last year before it got thrown away, basically, with spring practice being wiped out. I was wondering if you can kind of look back and maybe where you thought you may have been 4 practices in a year ago versus where you are now, as far as what you're able to install, and kind of what the guys who were part of this last year have been able to maybe help you pick it up a little bit, maybe.
Well, we're in much better condition right now, as opposed to when we were 4 practices in last season. I think there's better understanding of what we're supposed to do in terms of our assignments, and then our culture in terms of how we practice and how we compete. How we train, how we meet. It's better. It's being cemented right now, but we're light years ahead of where we were, last season. In terms of the preseason preparation, it's really not even close. But with that being said, we've got a long way to go. We need every practice we can get with these guys. But it is good to be able to have spring ball. Which we didn't have. It's good to have all out of season conditioning program, 8 weeks leading up into spring ball, so we can be in shape, so we can compete.
Thanks, Mel.
You.
Looks like we have a couple more questions. We'll go to Colton Pouncey from The Athletic. Make sure everybody gets one. Colton?
Hey, Mel. Hope you're doing well. Just quick question, based on your experience in past springs, I guess, at what point do guys begin to separate themselves and stick out? And when do you guys as coaches feel comfortable enough to kind of make those evaluations and draw conclusions from what you're seeing in the spring?
Yeah, as you start to scrimmage, we'll have a couple 3 scrimmages during the spring. Guys will start to stick out. Coming out of the spring game, practice 15, the identity of your team starts to really reveal itself, and then you go into your summer program where you're running and you're lifting, you're still meeting and installing some things, just going back over the basics of every position. And then when you go to fall camp after that second scrimmage, that's when you know for the most part, here are the guys that are going to be able to help us, and here are the guys that need to go to the scout team and continue to develop. So it's a process that goes all the way into fall camp, into that second scrimmage for the most part.
And then I noticed you guys are kind of doing like this hard knocks type of behind the scenes look this spring. I guess what went into that process, and what are you kind of hoping to show as those clips come out?
I just thought it would be a good idea to give our fans and our recruits a look behind the curtain a little bit in terms of how we operate, our process, our staff, our energy, our effort, just how we go about our business, our culture. I think access is important, especially with the current situation where we haven't been able to have recruits on campus, at all, so since COVID started, and we haven't been able to leave campus. And so, we have to engage, we have to give more access, and we don't have anything to hide. We are who we are, and we'll just work hard to build our program. But I think it's I think it's good for everyone to get a look at us a little bit in a little bit different context and see what's going on behind the scenes.
Our last question will go back to Stephen Brooks with 24/7 Sports.
Thanks, Ben. Mel, I'm just curious if you guys have a format for the scrimmage sort of figured out in terms of how long you want to go. Will it be in the stadium? How many snaps do you want the ones, the twos, the threes, however that looks at that point to get? And really just what do you consider a success? What do you really want to get out of it?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to see guys compete in a game like situation and see how they carry things over from the meeting room to our practices into a scrimmage. Sometimes when the lights come on, you start to scrimmage, guys' technique and fundamentals just go out the window. So that's discipline, that's trusting your training, and it's just really one step in the process. Before we scrimmage, we'll look at the injury report. We'll see how many guys we have, and that will determine how many reps each group gets and things like that. But we'll work on some first, second down things. We'll do some third down. We'll do some 2-minute. We may get into some red zone. We'll do some situational work. We'll move the field. It'll be a good day's work for us.
Do you plan to do that at the stadium or just in your own facility?
I would like to get into the stadium if we can. Again, as much of a game-like situation as you can get, the better.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Coach, that's all the questions we have for you today.
All right.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, appreciate your time. Thanks again. We'll see you soon. Go Green.